What's up, Vetters? Patrick here with Vetted. Today, we're talking about this.
And you received a prophecy about 2026 as well, right?
Yeah.
And what was that?
When the star of Regulus, which is a blue star, when it appears red on the horizon at the dawn, before the sun comes up, and the gaze of the Sphinx. In other words, I saw it in a vision, the whole thing. You can see the Sphinx facing east, and this thing's just cresting the top. She said, when that happens, that will be a sign that ushers in a new knowledge for humanity.
All right, Vetters, please hit that like button. That really helps out the videos. And of course, if you're not already subscribed, hit that subscribe button. All right, so what's today's video about? Well, it's about Chris Bledsoe. Now, first, I just want to say I am deathly sick, and this took me quite a bit to make this video. I didn't want to make it. I do not feel well at all, but you know what? There's people out there working real jobs, okay? Not sitting in the comfort of their home, who get up and go to work. They got kids, they pull through. So you know what? I'm gonna suck it up. We're gonna make this video. So pardon the voice, but it's just where I'm at. But let's begin. So essentially, we're gonna cover a lot of an interview that Chris Bledsoe recently just did with Jesse Michaels, but also other things that have just come out about Chris Bledsoe. He himself who has revealed things, right? This is all just happening all at once. So this is a pretty in-depth video, to be honest with you. More in-depth than I wanted to make. And of course it happens while I'm sick, but whatever, right? We're still gonna do this. So the big thing that I wanna start with, okay, is that Chris Bledsoe has changed the date of his Easter 2026 prediction that he's been making for a long time. Okay, for a very long time, he's been saying Easter 2026 is this prophecy that, you know, this new knowledge, this thing's going to happen, and now that has changed. So we're going to cover that first right off the bat. Take a look.
And you received a prophecy about 2026 as well, right?
Yeah.
And what was that?
Well, she said, and I had no idea what it meant, still don't, other than she said that when the star of Regulus, which is a blue star, when it appears red on the horizon at the dawn, before the sun comes up, and the gaze of the Sphinx. In other words, I saw it in a vision, the whole thing. You can see the Sphinx facing east, and this thing's just cresting the top. She said, when that happens, that will be a sign that ushers in a new knowledge for humanity. So does that mean the return of Jesus or the return of Christ consciousness? It could, and I think that's possible. But it marks a sign, she said, where the darkness would be exposed and the truth would be revealed. So I think we're going to learn something over the next couple of years.
And again, just to send home the message that he's been saying Easter 2026 for a long time, here's another clip of him on News Nation saying the exact same thing.
The lady explained to me that in April of 26, there would be an alignment where this star, which is a blue star, of Regulus appears on the horizon in front of the Sphinx, and it would be red.
And you know what? This is right.
That's what she said.
I've actually spoken to astronomers. This is the phenomenal thing about this.
Yeah, and she said it'll be red. And when that happens, it would mark a shift into a new knowledge, not an apocalypse. That's what she told me. It doesn't mean Jesus is coming back. There's a new knowledge that's coming. What is that? Is it under the pyramids they've discovered something? Is it the Hall of Records? Is it disclosure?
Because Chris just put out this tweet recently, because I think he knew the Jesse Michaels interview was coming out, so he wanted to kind of get ahead of it. But he put out this tweet right here. This is the message the lady gave. But people who supposed to know astrology can't agree on the dates. Is the alignment in the spring or fall? I will be in Egypt in the fall. And then he puts a little portion from his book that says this: when the red star of Regulus aligns just before dawn in the gaze of the Sphinx, a new knowledge shall come into the world. I was not sure what that meant. I've come to understand that around Easter 2026, there will be the end of an old way and the beginning of a new. So again, Easter 2026. But now he's saying he's going in the fall. And to be honest, I called this. I already knew that this was going to happen because I filmed with some people for my documentary who kind of told me about this back in August, right? But I wasn't sure what to make of it, to be honest with you. But I already kind of knew that this was going to happen. And let's be real, with most predictions, people move the goalposts. So, but let's continue, right? Because then Chris also said this in a tweet, right? Responding to someone who asked him this. Ryan, who is Chris's son, said you were also given the date of the 20th March too. Is that true? Chris responds, dates don't matter. The knowledge is pouring in every day and has been since COVID. The darkness or great deception is being exposed, and the truth of God/consciousness is here to stay. Well, that just sounds like a bunch of gobbledygook. So dates don't matter. Then why put that in your book? Why put dates out to begin with if dates don't matter, right? Dates don't matter. Now that the prediction, after over a decade, he's been saying this, now all of a sudden dates don't matter. Months before the date that he's been talking about, over a decade, is coming up, all of a sudden dates don't matter. What? Right? I agree, dates don't matter. And anyone who makes predictions, I don't take them seriously. Sorry, I just don't. You do what you want. That's just me personally, and I don't judge anybody who does. Want to believe in that? Great, go for it. Have at it. Me personally, I don't care. This date, that date, now he's going to be there in the fall. It'll actually be in the fall, right? Well, what if they got that wrong? What if that date's wrong? Again, dates don't matter. So why would the lady tell you that then? This new knowledge is coming and this great deception. Yeah, I'll tell you where the great deception is coming from. Chris Bledsoe. But let's move on, because Chris also put this out. Again, pin the comment of dates don't matter, okay? Chris just put out this brand new orb video. Again, all in this last week. Then he put out this tweet along with it, because apparently there was a hidden message in this orb video. This is a still shot from a 13 gig video taken in 4K on Wrightsville Beach, North Carolina World Forum Skywatch on December 15, 2025. This information appears in 4 frames. They are communicating in ways other than telepathic, and I aim to show it. Original and enlightened. What does it mean? So I guess on the left is the original, which it's been cropped. Even that video was cropped, right? That original orb video I showed you that they uploaded, that's been cropped. That's not the original. It's missing information, right? And what frame rate did they shoot it? Upload the original video. Let us see the original video. 13 gigs is nothing. Make it sound like 13 gigs. You know, such a boomer thing to say, and I hate using that word, but it is. It's like 13 gigs, we can't handle that. Yeah, we can. I put out 13 gig videos for Vetted. I mean, I upload that. It's not that big a deal. So that could totally be uploaded, but regardless. So he puts out this still image, and of course the message only comes in 4 frames. And how would they know to look for those 4 frames? Are they watching frame by frame each video that they record? Because Chris says in the Jesse Michaels interview, he's got terabytes of data and photos and videos going back years. So are they watching every frame? How did they know that in these 4 frames there was this? You're not going to see that in 4 frames watching it. I'm sorry, you're just not. So it's almost like it was placed there. So let's take a look at this hidden, message in this orb. Look at that. It's just some numbers in there. Dates, right? Dates that they put in, right? And that's what even Chris's son, Ryan Bledsoe, has been running with. Look at the dates, turn it upside down. It says, look at this way. Look. I don't even care, y'all, to be honest with you. I don't think that number was in the orb. I think they put that in there. I'm just being real. That I have no evidence that they did that they altered it. But what am I left to believe when they don't release the original video and the stuff that they release, say it's original, has been altered? Okay, I don't trust it, right? And you're moving the goalpost of your prediction coming up because dates don't matter. But then you release an orb video and say there's 4 frames in it with a date in it that we should be paying attention to. But hey, dates don't matter, y'all, right? Seems just very convenient. But look, let's keep moving on, because here's another orb video that Chris Bledsoe released. Sorry, y'all. Gotta have some tea because, not feeling well. But look, that's not an orb video. Just kidding. That's a video of a star, right? Because I've seen Chris Bledsoe upload videos of stars before, and they look just like orb videos. Take a look. This is Sirius A, the brightest star in our night sky, burning twice as hot as the sun. And look, the reason I showed you that is so that you can be aware of what a zoomed in star looks like, right? When people start putting out orb videos, and you can see that happens a lot. And look, I have no problem with the phenomena, believing in the phenomena, right? I want to believe. But as the vetted saying goes, I don't want to be deceived. Don't deceive us. Don't deceive me, right? Belief is one thing, but don't start deceiving. That is not a good look. And that makes me personally turned off from that person immediately. There's plenty of real phenomena out there. You don't need to make shit up. So look, that's the kind of videos that Chris puts out. They're just star. If you zoom in on a star, that's kind of what it looks like. And I'll be honest, I think he's done that many times, right? Because like, how are you getting in on these orbs, zooming in on them, right? Anyway, there's so much more there, and we have so much more to cover, but let's keep moving on. Roll the next clip.
Yeah, I think even in the book of Matthew, it's something like nobody knows
Today
the apocalypse other than God.
Right.
Paraphrasing, but yeah, nobody knows the day. And then on the other hand, it does feel like just this gestalt sense of like things are getting weirder.
Yep.
Dark truths are being revealed,
Yep.
ongoing.
Yep.
Feels like it's already started. And it feels like we're on the verge of some sort of paradigm shift.
Yeah, we are. Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the quote that Jesse is trying to read from the book of Matthew is this. And again, it could be a little bit different depending on what particular Bible you choose, but the gist is the same. But of that day and hour no one knows, not even the angels of heaven, but my Father only. Because that's the truth. And I'm not really particularly religious myself, right? I'm agnostic, but there are people that are, right? And the Bible absolutely warns you about false prophets, people who come saying these things, just like Chris does. Chris doesn't know anything, and this lady didn't tell him anything, right? How could she? She wouldn't know, because only God knows, right? So again, it's like Chris hears these things, just like, man, I hope nobody notices that, right? It's like when people start to make themselves above you or more special than you or insider about the phenomena more than you, I have a big problem with that, right? You don't have any more special relationship with the phenomena than I do. Sorry, you don't. And to pretend like you have some sort of insider information about it it's just disgusting, if you ask me, right? It's kind of disgusting, right? Oh, only speaking to you, only telling you these things. Why didn't the lady tell the whole world about Easter? She only told you. Get out of here, right? And well, it's not even happening on Easter anymore. Now it'll be in the fall, and then something else will happen in the fall, and then it'll move to the next year, and this and that and whatever, and yada yada, right? And look, you might be saying, Patrick, you're so harsh. You're so mean. Really? Because this is what Ryan Bledsoe had to say recently on his podcast. Bledsoe said so.
Oh, come on, Ryan. You're being so harsh. Believe the witness. Believe the experiencer. No, I don't give a shit. I don't know. I just don't find any genuine reason to accept that any of that stuff is real. It was, all of the abduction stories where they take your semen or your eggs, or, they put a baby inside of you like some, genetic hybrid program. And that was the only thing of the time. And we stood out. We were like a voice in the wilderness saying, hey, actually, it's spiritual. Maybe you guys are all wrong. Maybe you guys are the freaking crazy ones. We're not crazy. This is real, NASA's knocking on our freaking door, whether it's a gray, whether it's a reptilian, whether it's a mantis, whether it's X number of thing that people, say that they experience. This is psychic phenomenon. This is mental phenomenon. These are not physical beings walking around in our world, right? The only beings that have the permission and the capacity to walk around in our world are the beings of light, the ones that the Bledsoes have been shouting at the rooftops about, the ones that we've been dealing with.
So apparently Ryan Bledsoe and his family, the Bledsoes, they're the only right ones. No one else is right. All you people who've had, alien encounters, experiences, abductions, all of that, you're wrong. He don't give a shit, like he just said. So I guess that's where I'm taking the aim from. If Ryan can say that, then I can say what I'm saying, right? I just don't believe the Bledsoes, right? Hey, I'm saying the same thing they are, right? So if you're going to be mad at me, then you got to be mad at them for saying that, right? That's just how that goes, right? Ryan has no problem speaking his mind about what he believes. Hey, me neither, right? I'll tell you who's full of shit, Ryan. The Bledsoes. Yeah, I said it, right? I'm sorry. Gonna get a ton of hate for this. I don't care, right? Again, they're separating themselves, saying that they're the only ones seeing the truth and everyone else is full of shit, but they're the ones with the real, right, knowledge, and what they're seeing is right, and they're not the crazy ones. You're the crazy one. Well, wait a second. We haven't figured out what this is. We're all trying to figure this out. Nobody's got the truth. Nobody's got the answers, and anyone proclaiming to have all the answers, that's the one you need to be worried about. So Ryan, sorry, just it sounds nutty, but that's what's happened. These people have been pumped up to believe they're special. They've been put on a pedestal to be, made to feel better than you, and they know better than you, right? I don't know if abductions are real or not, but what I do know is telling them that they're full of shit and they're crazy, that's stupid. We don't know the answers. It could very well be the truth, and you are the crazy one, right? What are we talking about? People have seen all kinds of things across all cultures, across all times. You're telling me they're all full of shit, but your little family is the only one that's got the truth? Sorry, I don't buy it. I just don't buy it. And then Ryan puts out this tweet. Truth is coming out. This is our year. And he just put that out. So 2026, the truth's coming out. This is their year, y'all. Right? 2027, it should all be done. Right? There should be no more truth to come out because it'll all come out this year. That's it. And everything they've said before was not truth. Wait, what? Again, when you talk in these weird philosophical, they sound good. They're good sound bites, but they don't mean anything. It's literally nothing, right? It means nothing. And then Ryan Bledsoe also responded to this tweet. We have entered into a new age of ufology. UFO, UAP disclosures moving forward. It's okay if you don't believe, but you will be left behind. And Ryan Bledsoe responds, leave them be. Truth is not for the weak mind or the faint of heart. What? What are you talking about? You don't even speak the truth. It's called projection, Ryan. Sorry, no offense. But truth is not for the weak. I thought truth is coming. If the truth is coming, what does it matter? If you're weak-minded, strong-minded, any-minded. The truth is the truth, right? What? So you're the strong-minded ones? Everyone else is weak-minded? And forget about them. Leave them behind. Well, that sounds very Christian of you, Ryan. It's such a spiritual thing. And yeah, screw these people who don't. It's like, what? Again, this makes no sense at all, right? I'm just totally dumbfounded by these responses. But hey, if they're going to take a hardline approach against people, then I can take a hardline approach against them. You've kind of opened the door, in my opinion. And if it's all spiritual and it's God, right, and they're angels, why are you in the UFO world, right? Why'd you come to the UFO world? Why aren't you in the religious world? You got to come to the UFO world to tell all these people they're crazy and stupid, right? These people buy your books. These people go to your conferences. These people go to your events, right? You're just using them, right? Why not be in the religious world? Start a church. Why are you in UFO land? For what? To tell them they're all stupid and crazy, but you're not? I call bullshit. Let's move on because there's more.
Usually I go nowhere without somebody with me for a reason.
Wow.
Yeah. I've had some things that caused me to want to have somebody with me all the time.
What happened that caused you to want to not leave, go anywhere unaccompanied?
Well, I've been threatened a few times by different ones, and I was at the PSI games this year. Psi games, I call it PSI, Psi games, and came out of a conference speaking, and when I walked out the door, this mad lady comes running up to me and tries to kidnap me.
What?
Yeah. Has something with drugs on it. Tried to get me in a van with no driver, with no tags on it. Security had to come. They had to call the law on her. Yeah, so
Crazy
people.
Yeah, I imagine you attract a lot of nutty people.
Big time.
So Chris Bledsoe almost gets kidnapped at this Psi Games that happened in August of this past year. I almost went to this. Never heard about this. Right? I'm not saying it's not true. I'm just saying he attracts a lot of crazies. Yeah. I wonder why.
I want to start with this very interesting discussion that we just kind of sparked up as you were walking in, which is you have this golden pin on your jacket. What is that pin?
Well, that pin was given me by someone everybody has read about, right? Down at Cape Canaveral, without saying names.
Okay.
And it signifies being off planet. So from what I'm told, the people that get these have been in space before.
So astronauts, pretty much.
Right.
And why do you think this person gave that pin to you?
At the time, I had no clue other than what they were telling me. It involved taking me into the astronaut crew quarters and going through a whole thing because I was, in other words, when this thing first happened, this person from NASA came to my house with a backpack and a whole lot of credentials that had everything from Area 51 to the CIA and all that combined, NASA. And he tested the whole family with metal. He put a piece of metal in my hand. I was the last one to be tested. So all four of my kids and my wife, they all went into this one room. So she got Ryan. He got Ryan's the first one and kind of made it secret. He took Ryan into a room, tested him and said, now you go get the next person, but don't tell them. So he went out and got each person in the family, tested them with this metal. They brought me in last and I had no idea what I was doing. I sat down on the edge of the bed. It was in Ryan's room. And he put this piece of metal right here. And I said, what do you think of that? I said, well, it looks like a piece of aluminum, like a postage stamp. That size, thin.
Was it light?
Very light, yeah. It was kind of a dull gray. It wasn't like shiny. It was aluminum of some sort. And he reaches in his backpack and pulls out another piece of metal that was different. And it was like aluminum foil. Looked like foil. And it wasn't you couldn't crease it, but it would wrinkle, but it would fold back out, but it wouldn't crease. You couldn't crease it. It would kind of roll up and then straighten out. But when he put that in this hand, it somehow or another created this current that went through where it was communicating. This part of the metal was communicating with that part of the metal. And when that happened, it caused my eyes to roll back, and he reached up and snatched it out of my hand real quick and said, why you? This is in the book, by the way. And I had no idea what happened. He said, why you? This close. I said, excuse me, what do you mean why me? And he said, well, I would have known you were lying about being taken if you hadn't had a reaction to this. And he said, I've only ever seen 2 others. And they were nothing like yours. That's what he told me. So that started the next 2 or 3 years studying with them. And I'm being kind to my friend without saying his name, but you know who I'm talking about.
I know who you're talking about. Can I say who it is?
Yeah,
Because I think it's Tim Taylor, who's a NASA mission controller, who, his name is now sort of out there. And
now it's going to get interesting, because the story that Chris just told about this man named Tim Taylor, who we're going to get into here in just a second, it's at the crux of it, right? And I mean, how weird is it first that this guy goes to Tim Taylor, this guy goes to Chris Bledsoe's house and then takes his children into a room alone, right? Just met this guy to show him a rock, something hard. I mean, come on, that's crazy. Why would you do that? Why would you let some stranger in your house take your kids into a room? It's just, something doesn't add up, and something super fishy. Either Chris is just so naive and ignorant that he let himself be taken by this and sort of psyoped, right, to believe he's sort of special, or he's in on it too, right? Because he can't be smart and have been psyoped like this. Not for how long it's been going on. Because as Chris states at the beginning of the Jesse Michaels interview, he's been doing this for almost 20 years. It seems like a Freudian slip there. Doing this. Yeah, exactly. You've been doing this, right? Creating this aura around you, this sort of, these stories, right? And it's just built up and built up and built up. And then you talk to people and you start to get credibility just because you've hung out with people. Just like Ryan said, hey, NASA looks into us. No, NASA doesn't look into you. People from NASA have gone to visit you and done weird shit, right? That doesn't mean anything. I'm sorry, but it just doesn't. Show me an official NASA program or document that shows that they're looking into you. We're spending taxpayer money on this to look into you guys, right? I'm just not convinced, right? And it's just so weird. And this Tim Taylor guy is very weird, right? Because I made a video on Tim Taylor. I would say it's the most comprehensive video about Tim Taylor on the internet. Jesse talks about Tim Taylor a lot. And actually, after this Chris Bledsoe video, he talked about Tim Taylor a lot in this, but nobody's put together a video like I did. I'm going to put a link down below in the description. And it includes a lot of clips from Jesse's interviews and stuff, because Jesse is really the only other person besides myself who's talked about Tim Taylor this much, right? So I recommend checking out my video. That'll lead you to other Jesse videos that include it. I basically just brought them all together, plus interviews I've done, whatever, all kinds of stuff, right? So, and in my video, I have videos from Tim Taylor's YouTube that you can't get anywhere, because after my video came out, he deleted all of that, right? Because I put some of them in my video, right? Which I found to be interesting. And Tim Taylor is an interesting guy in the sense that, you know what? Let Jesse explain a little bit more about who Tim Taylor is.
So who is this Timothy Taylor figure showing up in Bledsoe's life? He's a mysterious rocket scientist who's done mission control for NASA since the 80s. That part is not really disputed, and it's well documented in his autobiography, Launch Fever. At one point, Tim Taylor even had a small YouTube account with videos showing his deep levels of access to NASA facilities. He's also taken people like Bledsoe through Kennedy Space Center. Religious studies professor Diana Pasulka, along with others, have said that he's worked directly with Elon Musk. But where it gets interesting is that he's also popping up in the lives of numerous UFO experiencers, claiming that he's a time traveler and works for an angel. Basically, he exists at the intersection between rigorous, real-world aerospace work and totally insane UFO lore, and that's why he's still American Alchemy's most requested guest. Some of the things that Tim Taylor told Chris would wholesale overhaul our understanding of reality, if at all true.
And what's also interesting is that Tim Taylor allegedly stopped talking to Chris Bledsoe, right? But then in this interview, he's like, no, he messaged me a couple years ago. Because again, that kind of is just interesting, considering I had one of Chris Bledsoe's really good friends on, Bob McGuire. I did an interview with him where Bob told me something extraordinary about Tim Taylor and Chris Bledsoe's relationship, of why they didn't talk anymore. Check this out.
Yeah, we were talking about Tim Taylor and Chris Bledsoe in that X space. We just didn't get to it yet, but you had mentioned that potentially they were somewhere working on something, and you think maybe Tim borrowed Chris's download and started a company, kind of like yours that you
I
did.
don't know whether, I know this. Chris helped him with some medical stuff in Tim Taylor's laboratory. And subsequent to that, Taylor made a fortune, and Chris Bledsoe got none of it. The implications are pretty straightforward. I just don't have the final evidence to prove it. But shortly after that, Tim Taylor broke off connection.
Oh, shortly after that, he just stopped talking to Chris Bledsoe.
Yeah, he stopped going to see him.
Wow. Like, kind of like, I got what I needed.
Like, well, that's my suspicious former intelligence person belief, but I don't have the evidence to prove it. I just know that it's strange.
I agree. Do you think Tim Taylor gets downloads on his own?
Yes. Not in American Cosmic, Diana Pasulka describes Tim Taylor getting downloads. She calls him Tyler, but it's Tim Taylor.
You see, the implication is that Tim Taylor stole a download, an alien download from Chris Bledsoe. But again, I thought it wasn't aliens. I thought it was angels. Anyway, stole a download and then started a company with it and left Chris high and dry. Chris didn't seem fazed by that at all in the Jesse Michaels interview. So I don't know what's going on. Again, nothing adds up, right? And this happened after the Jesse Michaels interview came out, because Jesse put out this tweet, right, promoting his interview that he did with Chris Bledsoe, which he did a great job in the video. And I think there was a lot of points in this interview where Jesse was basically calling Chris out to his face without calling him out to his face. A representative from NASA, I guess someone that works for NASA, okay, legitimately, posted under Jesse's video and said this: I have filed a formal NASA OIG complaint reporting Mr. Timothy E. Taylor for fraud and federal ethics violations. His abuse of his NASA contractor credentials gained by his position as nothing more than an employee with the Aerospace Corporation has gotten out of hand. These lies cannot and should not continue. Timothy E. Taylor deserves to be exposed for exactly the fraud he is. I mean, people aren't happy that work at NASA. This guy, especially Desmo, who I have spoken to in X Spaces before, a really great guy, definitely works for NASA. It's like people find out about this. That's why I don't think NASA went. But people will go on their own time, right? Does that make sense? It's like they work for NASA, they go do something, and then people say NASA's involved. No, NASA's not involved. A guy that has a relationship with NASA went to your thing. I think Timothy Taylor's doing all this on his own time, amongst other people that that work for NASA, hang out with Chris, or any of these experiencers, or any of these people in this stuff. They got hobbies too. They got beliefs outside of their job, right? It's like if they join a Dungeons and Dragons team or game, doesn't mean NASA's, running the game now, right? Does that make sense? It's like you join a softball league, NASA is sponsoring this league. No, what are you talking? Like NASA's interested in our softball league. No, NASA's not. It's a guy that plays in the league. That's all this is, right? And it feels like they abuse their credentials to get things, right? And there's a lot more to this that we could get into, but we have more to cover. So let's move on. But that is interesting, and I do want to see where that leads.
But there are a lot of other NASA guys that I'm currently talking with. Several. One tells me wherever I go, but they're all interested.
They tail you wherever you go.
They're with me.
Really?
Yeah, usually traveling with me. Somebody associated with that, yeah.
What do you think they want?
They all want to study it. They want to know, and they observe it with me. I take them out, and we do a lot of work.
Are they with you in Austin, Texas?
No, but they wanted to be.
They go with me everywhere I go. They tail me everywhere I go. Well, they're with me. Are they here with you now? No, they're not now. So what? So you see how that just diminished, right? Because they want to seem like they're bigger, they're better. They're being studied by NASA. They're better than you. They're not. And they're not being studied by NASA. And clearly they're not going everywhere with them or tailing them as he initially made it sound, right? Again, my nose doesn't work well because I'm sick right now, but I smell just the ultimate BS, right? And I've been waiting a long time to make this video. I really wanted to give Chris Bledsoe, the patience and the runway and just like, yeah, maybe there's something there, right? Maybe there is something there with this guy. And again, doesn't affect my belief in the phenomena at all. I just don't like people taking the phenomena, taking control of it, saying they have the answers. Apart from you, they have, right, a connection you don't have and are more special than you. Not a fan of that. Not a fan of that.
I was in a Capitol Hill club when the hearing, the recent hearing that happened, right?
Yeah.
And in fact, it was Anna Brady and a bunch of those friends of hers, and without using names, and we were having hors d'oeuvres with Eric Burleson and Anna Luna, right? And afterwards, we went out and did a sky watch on the Library of Congress, right? We were up on the platform, and suddenly this orb appears, and for 45 minutes, it did figure eights over the Capitol and the White House.
So, and Burleson saw it.
No, Burleson wasn't there. He had gone home, but Anna was there.
Anna was there.
And a whole group of other people. Eric Zydak from PG&E Power. Donna Roberts from the International Space Station. She was standing next to me. Others, I can't say their name. But they've come out publicly, this group. Tracy McGill. She's an analyst for the DOD, I think.
Whoa. Fascinating.
So they all got to experience it.
Now, this is an interesting story, right? So Chris Bledsoe goes out with Eric Burleson to try to show him some orbs, right? Actually, you know what? Eric Burleson recently just spoke about this in another interview. Let's let him explain what happened on this exact evening that Chris Bledsoe is talking about.
I went to dinner with him. I'm trying to remember if it was after the hearings or before one of the hearings. Went to dinner with him and some other people that are kind of, in a way, that they're kind of Chris Bledsoe groupies. And I'm saying that in the most, like, you know, they're good people too, but they're all friends together. So I didn't really know them very well, but they wanted to have a conversation. So I just happened to have the evening open, and we went to dinner, and I didn't know who Chris was. I learned about his, his story and what he claimed to me that he was able to actually communicate with, and that he had like the ability to communicate and call in UAPs. And so I asked him, so where does this happen? In the desert, over the water? Where can this happen? Over a city? And he said, anywhere. And I said, anywhere? Any time of the day, at night, when? And he said, pretty much any time. It's easier to see it at night. And I said, what about right now? What about right here, right now? And I said that because I have been, this last year and a half or more of being involved in this topic, it gets pretty frustrating to hear lots of stories, to hear people's firsthand accounts, and yet not have no receipts, no proof, nothing. And so I asked him if he would be willing to demonstrate that. We went on the Capitol Mall. After a few hours, I gave him a few hours and nothing happened. But then I was told that a few weeks later they went to the exact same location, and I think they recorded it. It was on Ross Coulthard's show. They actually released some videos that they had taken from their cell phones of some objects that they reportedly, according to them, that they called in with Chris. But I was not there. So I can't confirm that was the case. All I can tell you is that I gave him a chance, went out with him, and nothing happened.
That's hilarious. So, Eric Burleson's like, okay, prove it to me. Prove it. You can call in orbs, prove it. So they go out. He gives them 3 hours. I thought you could make it happen on a whim, right? If you pray, they come. If you just think about it, they come. I've done psionics with people. It's instant. If it's going to happen, it's instant. It's not 3 hours later. That doesn't make any sense, right? But of course it happens after Eric Burleson leaves, when he's with his groupies, as Eric Burleson puts it. So people who already believe in him. You know what I think? Oh, I'm gonna get so much hate for this, but screw it. I think the reason Chris Bledsoe needs that much time and he can't do it on the spot is because it's fake. Probably have someone go out with a drone or an RC plane, because Chris Bledsoe, guess what, is into RC planes. Yeah, just so happens to be. And he needs time to get that set up. So he can't just do it on a whim, right? He needs to have that time set up. And that's why they love doing it over the ocean or over the water. So you can't really see, right? Can't really check that. And he has to coordinate it, right? He's got to schedule it. Even though he says it can happen at any time, any point. I can make it happen anytime, anywhere. Really? Okay, prove it. Because anytime Chris Bledsoe has been asked to just prove it in the moment, he can't make it happen. Just something fishy there, right? 3 hours, but then he makes it seem like a win. Yeah, it happened. Chris Bledsoe wasn't there, but man, definitely happened later, man. You know, that party was sick after you left, dude. Really? Okay. Yeah, again. And you know what? You may be thinking, Patrick, you're too emotional right now. Right? You don't know what you're talking about. Oh, really? Because at Contact in the Desert last year, okay, I was there and I went to a Chris Bledsoe Skywatch event. And I've got a story to tell about that. But before I get to that, let me play this other clip that Jesse mentions about interviewing, when Danny Jones interviewed Chris Bledsoe, because this is kind of his shtick.
It was funny. Danny Jones, I think, came into your interview with him maybe a little skeptical, but then he said he saw an orb with you outside of a diner or something.
Well, he called me. He's like, I want you on my show. I'm like, Danny, I'd love to be on your show, but you got to do something for me. I'm going to come a day or two early, and I want to make you a believer, not a skeptic. Because our interview will go differently if you're a believer. And he said, okay. So we flew down, my daughter and I and my wife, and we had dinner there in Clearwater. Went over to Indian Rocks Beach, out on the beach, and he had his assistant with him with a camera. And I said, well, let's watch out of the ocean, because I can get it out. It appears up out of the ocean. When I ask it, it's just like out of the sky. It comes up out of the sea. And suddenly here it came, 2 of them. Wow. And he filmed it. We all filmed it.
Was he freaking out?
Yeah.
Wow.
You see, he needed that interview to go better. He needed him to believe. You see, he scheduled it all. He had Danny come at a specific time. He knew he was going to be, right? Danny should have put him on the spot. Should have had him come to do the interview and then, hey, let's go outside. Show me an orb right now. Because it wouldn't have happened, right? Because he can't do it. Or if he can, he's exaggerating his skills or beliefs, right? But he knew the interview would go better if he believed, because that's what Chris wants. He wants you to be in awe of him while he's talking to you. Don't be skeptical. Don't be skeptical at all. Why? Right? And why do you need to set it up to prove it? I don't know. Again, people are going to believe in this no matter what. Even if you show them the truth of it, they're still just going to go with it. And that's fine. I'm not here to talk about people who believe in Chris. Have at it. I'm here to talk about Chris and his claims. That's it. But let me get to my story about Contact in the Desert. And you know what? I wasn't the only one that had this experience with Chris Bledsoe at Contact in the Desert during a skywatching event. Here's Kelly Chase from the UFO Rabbit Hole and the Cosmosis TV series talking about exactly what I'm going to talk about.
Sorry, it was at Contact in the Desert. He was doing like summoning orbs live.
Skywatch.
Oh, yeah, he said don't call it. Yeah, I was there and I was so excited. And because I was bought in, fully ready to see an orb. And like he said, at 9:45 this orb's going to appear, and at 9:45 there was a plane that was in a very heavily traveled flight path that was being used all night. It was absolutely a plane. And what really disturbed me about it was that he was telling people live when they're like, no, it's a plane. He's like, no, don't even think it's a plane, because if you start thinking it's a plane, it's going to turn into a plane. And like, about that time, I packed up my towel and got out of there because I was just like, I cannot, not today.
That just made me think of the Stephen Greer clip where he's like, "Turn off your night vision." Okay,
yep. Right?
Everybody, turn off your night vision.
Do not look at the man behind the curtain.
It's definitely a UFO for sure.
Kelly, can I ask you a question about Chris?
Sure.
I didn't go to the Skywatch. I didn't want to do that. But do you think that he knew that it was a plane, or do you think that he believes it was the others or whatever?
I don't
speculating.
Chris Bledsoe does not, I mean, I don't know, but Chris Bledsoe does not strike me as a liar. Like, I don't think he's a liar. I think but I think that he, like I said, I think he's been psyoped to hell and back, and he's been made to believe that he's a prophet of God. And I don't know that his relationship to reality is super strong these days. And I think that that's really unfortunate.
And yeah, Kelly's kind of right? So like part of it, right? Like he thinks he's just been psyoped into believing this stuff and amped up. I think that's part of it. And I do agree with Kelly there. And she's right. It was just a plane, literally a plane. And, I think Chris is kind of in on it. I think he likes it. I think he doesn't want to see the truth. I think because he's made a living here. This is his thing. What's he going to do now? What's he going to go do for work now? Right? He's in. He's not changing. And he will do whatever he has to do to keep the grift going, unfortunately. But that stuff's got to weigh on him. If you've got a conscience, if you're a real person, I don't see how he sleeps at night. I bet he justifies it by like, I'm helping people. So that's how I get by. I'm helping people. Yeah, but you're not really. You're falsely helping people, right? Because if they knew, then it would all fall apart. So you help people build a house on sand in the tide and just don't forget about it. You do more damage than good by lying to people and deceiving people like this when you, quote, are helping them. The ends don't justify the means, right? And there have been people around Chris that are part of the problem as well, that have pumped him up to be, bigger than he is. You're special. Tim Taylor telling Chris Bledsoe, why you? Why you? Good Lord, right? It's honestly insane. And I feel sorry for people who spend money on this, invest in this, and then it all falls apart in their face, right? But look, let me tell you the rest of that story at Contact. Here's a video I made about it just after it happened in the summer.
Chris posts, he puts this tweet out with this video, right? He says, "Time to pay attention. Nearly 1,000 people witnessed me predict it to be orange, and it would descend down beneath the clouds to be precisely at 9:45. When it went up, you can hear people say it's 9:47. Well, that's true. Well, that is 2 minutes behind. I mean, if we're being technical here. But 1,000 people, I did not see 1,000 people at this thing. 100, maybe 200 max. So I don't know where the 1,000 people is coming from, unless he was saying it throughout the conference. Does that make sense? Like, I just heard it at the event, but maybe he was saying it beforehand. Maybe that's what he means. I don't know. But regardless, so he shares this video. Let me play it for you.
Are you filming it, anybody? Yes. Watch it. Is it 9:45? I said at 9:45 there would be something appearing. Thank you. 9:47, y'all. Is that right?
So here's my response that I put on Twitter that created a little bit of hoopla. Well, I was there in person for this. It was a plane. Sorry to report. Just being honest about what I saw. I was there over an hour and everyone around me thought it was a plane too. Nothing descended down. It was a plane that flew by. Now, let me explain my tweet a little bit, okay? All I'm saying is that the particular thing that they were pointing at, saying, right, flying by, was a plane. It was plain as day, no pun intended, there. And again, when I say everyone around me, the few people that were around me, we were all like, that's a plane. It was pretty obvious. You were there in person. And this is one of those things where you just had to be there, right? Like, I could see much clearer than any video is being shown. I also took video, but you can't see anything of this thing, right? The lighting was so low. I mean, here's an example. Like, it was just really hard to film. So, but with my naked eye, it was plain. I mean, you could just see it. It's crystal clear. This was a plane flying by. In fact, everyone's looking around at each other like, that's just a plane. Right? That's it. What are we talking about here?
I'm going to put a link down below in the description to that video so you can go watch it for yourself. And yeah, and this is a video that I shot at the event. So I was there, okay? I shot my own video of that particular instant where it happened. Check this out.
What? Let's look at this right here. You may not be there, but watch it. Look at it. Watch it. Everybody see it? Put a laser. Don't put a laser on it. Don't. Don't put a laser on it. That would be a bullshit.
That thing?
If it was an airplane.
That's a plane.
I don't think this is what we're looking for. Are you filming it, anybody? Yeah. Watch it. Is it 9:45? I said at 9:45 there would be something appear. Thank you. 9:47, y'all. Was I right? I told you in advance.
And I wasn't alone. There was a lot of people around me. Everyone around me was saying, that's a plane, right? Clearly a plane. And the reason he knew what time it would fly by is because you can check what time planes fly by and you can see where they fly by and you can pinpoint. I mean, it's just, does he not think, he doesn't think people are going to put that together. First of all, he said it was going to be a triangle craft. Wasn't. It was a plane. And if you notice in my video, he tells the person with the laser, don't shine the laser at it, because it's a federal law to shine a laser at a plane. And they were shining lasers all over that night at other objects in the sky. But as soon as that thing came by, don't shine a laser at it. Why not? It's the object you said that was coming, because he knows it's a plane, because he knew it would come at that time. It's very easy to see what time the planes are going to fly by. We're right there by the airport. Like, it's deception on another level. And it angers me. It's not cool. I deceive people, right? There is something to this phenomenon out there. You don't need to deceive people. You don't need to put yourself on a pedestal. Come down here with us, with everybody. We're all the same. You don't have special knowledge. You can't predict things, make predictions. Hey, dates don't matter. Times don't matter, right? And he wants that applause, right? Didn't I get that right, people? Right? He wants that applause. He wants to feel special, and people give it to him, right? It's almost like we also look for people to put on a pedestal, and Chris is happy to do that and jump in there, because maybe he just didn't feel special before in his life, and now he feels special, and he's not going back. We've created a monster.
Do you think that NASA has other propulsion modalities?
I think they've had it a long time.
Really?
I know they were working on it a long time ago, because I was asked to work on which way electrons move.
Really?
Yeah.
And what does that mean? And what is it when working on it?
Back engineering machines.
Reverse engineering UFOs.
Yeah.
Really?
Yep.
Are the UFOs like alien reproduction vehicles that like hover and then go into space, or are they like high voltage chambers that are like portals, like in the movie Contact, where you end up in some other dimensional space?
I think there's probably both of that exists. I don't know, but
and you think NASA is sitting on this stuff?
I don't know that NASA is necessarily, but there are satellite groups that keep it under wraps. It is so far buried.
Do you think,
according to Tim, there were 2 generals at the Pentagon that knew everything?
And which general?
2. He didn't tell me.
Interesting.
Air Force generals.
Okay, so now Chris Bledsoe is saying he helped work on reverse engineered alien spacecraft. Wait a second, I thought it was an alien. I thought it was angels. They fly UFOs? Back engineered what, right? I mean, this stuff doesn't make any sense at all. And why are they asking this guy, right? They're not. And they're not using anything he comes up with. I'm sorry to say. They're just blowing smoke up his ass. And I can't tell if he's in on it on this part or not. I don't know. It's almost like it's a little bit of both, right? They're not helping this guy in any way, shape, or form.
There's a whole lot of things that are going to come forward that have been hidden from us. And the main thing is the truth that we're not alone.
Yeah. I mean, that's clear to me. You know, I think that's definitely a thing.
And so I believe next year we'll be closer to that than ever.
Yeah.
And the word apocalypse, by the way, you know what that means?
unveiling.
Yeah, to reveal a secret.
To reveal the secret.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all. And people think when you hear that, and if you look on Google, it says the ultimate destruction, the end. It's lying to us. That's not what the word means at all. It means to reveal that which has been hidden.
And it's the veil thinning. And I think for some people that will be very good, and for other people it will be very bad. It depends on your orientation to it.
Right.
And I think it does have this connotation of, Beelzebub coming down and breathing fire onto everybody,
Right.
sorting people and whatever. But like, I think if you were oriented in a good way spiritually, I don't think it'll necessarily be bad for you. I also don't even, we're talking about it like it's one, crazy event with these like divine beings. Maybe it's like a slow moving
That's
thing.
exactly the way I see it. It's not like snap your fingers and something. We're not going to wake up on Easter or whenever that time happens.
Yeah.
I'm torn, by the way, because for 8 years I wrote and talked about this alignment being in September or somewhere in the fall, because that was the date given to me by some people into astrology. And then they come back right when I go to write my book and say, oh, we made a mistake. It said Easter. And I thought, well, that sounds plausible because the lady's always coming around Easter. I have this insane experiences every year at Easter.
Are you still having them?
Yeah.
That's amazing. So you still speak to
every
this
year.
So there's a lot of things to break down here. One, Chris is trying to blame astronomers for giving them the wrong date. It's that they told me around Easter 2026. I've been thinking the fall. Okay, what are we talking again? The dates, but dates don't matter. So what does it matter, right? And apocalypse, right? Because he used that word, and he's blaming people for taking it the wrong way, right? Colloquially, that's what apocalypse means to people, right? Apocalyptic movies, this and that. He knew that that's what people would think. Oh no, they got it wrong, right? It's our fault, y'all, not his. It's just a new beginning, right? He's using the old definition, okay, but he doesn't say that, right? Again, all this stuff's coming next year, and they filmed this in 2025. So when he's saying next year, he means 2026, this year, right? We'll be closer to the truth. We'll be this, we'll be that. Again, just more nonsense, if you ask me.
So it's almost like you were part of like a secret science program where you were given material to look at. You didn't even have context on the material, but you were getting downloads about it.
Yeah.
And do you think any of that made it into his, he had a lot of biomedical patents. He had a company called Vivex Biotechnologies, which he sold for $88 million.
That's who I was working with.
That's who you were working with?
That company.
Wow.
Yeah. They were creating what's called a viograph, which was it was based on the metal that they've recovered, and infusing it into this, the particular, and I have video of the operation of a young lady, the first operation in the United States, was a Spanish lady that had bone cancer in her thigh, and they removed like 2 inches of the bone, and they wrapped it with this viograph, injected stem cells into it, and in like 60 days, her bone had regrown, the pain was gone, she could walk again.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, that is a operational, functional, company that does real things in the biomedical world. And what makes it fascinating is that maybe the backdrop of that company is recovered UFO material.
Exactly.
And somebody like you intuitively downloading the functionality.
I don't know how much good I did, right? But it was to come from a carpenter being ridiculed by the whole community to secretly drawing diagrams for NASA was, it was a pretty cool thing.
Okay, what? So now people are getting healed. And by the way, Chris has claimed to be able to heal people. And then he'll say, no, I can't heal people. They heal through me. Okay. And now he's part of this. This is that thing that I was talking about with Bob McGuire, right? Where he gets these downloads and people take it and make money off of it. So he probably privately complained about this, that he's not getting a piece of the action, right? I don't know how much I helped, right? UFO material. He even agrees to that. So angels are flying around in UFOs. Again, none of this makes sense And where's the video? This happened. These miraculous healings that happen. There's never any videos, right? Or any evidence of this or proof, right? And I'm not saying that we can't do stuff with stem cells, of course, right? And curing people with things. Absolutely. But the way he tries to attach himself to it as he's some special guy and the secret, team studying this. It's like, what are we talking about?
Right now, my main focus is on the Rosetta Stone.
Really? Why is your focus on the Rosetta Stone?
Because I believe that I think I can get there. I think I know it's talking. I know it is. I know it's talking multiple ways, not just telepathically, because that's hard to prove or explain, but I'm sure it's talking through frequency, through the light, pulses of light, with the right sensors and even some sort of Morse code or something. Multiple ways is trying to communicate. I've seen it. I know it. And I think one day we'll get there.
You think the Rosetta Stone is trying to communicate with you?
I think that phenomenon is trying to talk to us, and to find that Rosetta Stone, that's just
you're saying
the language. I want to find the language of this,
of the beings.
Yeah, and it's putting it out right now. It's talking. We just got to study it, and I'm working on a way to do that.
Do you think their language is discoveries, like the discoveries we make? What do you think the language is? Do you think it's a literal symbols and hieroglyphics? Because people say on the crafts that they see these sort of hieroglyphics.
Yeah, I've heard biblical texts and all on them too.
And you think we'll be able to decode this?
I think we can get actual real-time communication through the light and through sensors if we can gather enough data.
How would we do this?
Put it in a quantum AI computer. And there's 2 of them that I could probably get access to.
So you're working on this?
I'm working on it, yeah.
Have you decoded anything yet?
Not, well, we're working on it. That's all I can
it
say.
sounds like you have decoded a little thing.
Well, some, yeah.
Anything you can give us?
Enough to get me going full time.
I'm saying anything you can give us as far as hints as to what you've decoded.
Well, I just that I know it's there, and I think we'll get there in the next 4 or 5 years, maybe longer.
Do you think there's something special about the pyramids that we'll learn soon or something? Because one of your experiences was around the pyramids. Obviously, Hathor.
Well, I'm hearing that next year that something might be revealed from there.
What will it be?
Well, without getting ahead of what I was told this week, I've been invited to go down there and be involved in something that is going to release something that was hidden.
Interesting. And what? Something under the pyramids?
Possibly.
Like a little energy grid thing?
Or? They didn't tell me that.
Okay.
They just invited me to be a part, and the Egyptian Antiquities authorities are part of it.
Fascinating.
Great. So he's going in the fall for something else that has nothing to do with his big prediction, right? That's why he's going in the fall, right? For something, he got invited for something else that they're going to reveal, right? It's going to change everything again. More times than we need to hear that. That's why I use bombshell in all my titles. It's ironic. It's just like, that's what everything is to these people. Bombshells and a new thing and new truth. And this year, this is the year, right? And this stuff's going to happen. Nothing's going to happen when he goes to Egypt in the fall. Again, it's just all stuff to push down the line. And now he's working on the Rosetta Stone, which Jesse got confused by that. All he means is he's trying to figure out the language that these beings talk to, because it's not all telepathic. He's going to figure out the language, right? And of course, that's going to take some years. I thought the truth was coming this year. Truth's coming out. Which is it? What's going on, right? It's all gobbledygook. And I'm done with Chris Bledsoe, me personally. Y'all have at it. I'm sure I'll cover things that he says or does or whatever. But me personally, I'm done with this guy and his family and the nonsense that they're spewing out to people, especially going after people who also have experiences, but they're full of shit, but not them, right? It always cracks me up when an experiencer calls out another experiencer in that sense. It's hard, right? It's an interesting approach, to be honest with you, right? I don't know. But again, I think Jesse the whole time was kind of calling him out in a lot of ways, right? Just directly to his face, but not to his face, if you know what I mean. Here's an example.
Because the average person, you talk to them about metaphysics, and if they speak in a self-assured way, they're probably full of shit.
Right.
And they're either full of shit or they're really epistemically humble. And they're
Right.
like, I don't know. I take these things metaphorically and, so it's like one or the other.
And that's Chris, right? Talking about metaphysical stuff. He's so sure on all this stuff. He's so sure on the lady and what he's told him and a new knowledge and this and that. And he's not humble in any way, shape, or form, right? Now, he may seem like a good old boy, a good old guy. And I'm sure he's a good guy. Right, in that sense, just Southern guy, easy to talk to. And I don't think it's all Chris's fault. I think people around him have just beefed him up, but he went along with it. And he's happy to go along with it, that he's somehow special, right? I think it's a huge problem, right? And I think he's probably full of shit, and I think that's what Jesse is kind of getting at. I could be wrong, right? Jesse's allowed his own opinion about it and whatever. But this interview was very enlightening for me. Very eye-opening. Sunlight's the best disinfectant. And sometimes people will get mad at other creators for, quote, platforming people, right, and getting them on. But I think that's part of the process. Sunlight, again, is the best disinfectant. So I'm glad Jesse did this interview. Even if you don't believe someone, sit down with them, talk with them. You never know, right? Sometimes by just talking to them, and it helps expose them. I think that's where I feel about this. Now, teach their own. Everyone make up their own mind, decide whatever you want. But I'm just telling you my thoughts, right? Where I'm coming from, how I feel about this. And I am in no way going to judge anybody who believes Chris or wants to follow him or think he's the real deal. Have at it. Absolutely. I have no judgment against you, and I would have a conversation with you about it. Hopefully we can agree to disagree. No problems at all. Because I don't blame people for believing in something. But I do go after people who I feel are deceiving people about a belief, right? Especially setting themselves apart as being some sort of insider or having special knowledge about something that, none of us know the answer. None of us know what's going on. We may have theories or speculate. That's one thing, right? That's something different. But we're all on this journey together, right? And we're all on an individual journey as well. So, look, I'm probably going to get attacked for this, especially by people that like Chris. And that just shows there's a cult happening there to some extent, right? Because why would people be mad that I don't agree with Chris? Who cares, right? And if you felt I got a little bit emotional about it, I apologize, right? It does upset me when people go out of their way to deceive other people. But again, like I said, I don't think it's all Chris's fault. I think he's a part of it, but I think it's just a part of people around him too. And it creates, people like his son, who stand on an even taller pedestal and want to call everyone else crazy, right? So I'm just not a fan of that, right? So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video. I apologize for the voice. My head is pounding and killing me. I'm going to end the video here. I want to thank y'all so much for supporting Vetted. Here's to a great 2026. I guess a new knowledge is coming. Anyway, all right, y'all. We'll see you in the next one. Remember, Vettas, every day's a gift, y'all. Peace.
Hey, Patrick, this is Tony from Statesville, North Carolina. I just wanted to say I've been following you for a little over a year now, and you are doing phenomenal on the talk of UAPs and just the work in general, covering the topic. Just recently, this deal with James Fox, man, you have killed it when you have done your research on this, because I would have never known. And I think the whole UFO, UAP community is so glad that you've done the research that you've done. And man, I just want to say thank you for giving me the great insights that you have gave me, and to everyone else out there too that you have helped. Thanks, brother. Keep it up, man. See you.